Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the build of the week, and this week we're going to be taking a look at the DB Saga team. Now DB Saga is a very interesting team. So from a lead perspective, nowadays you have two leads. You have the AGL Goku, you also have the physical Goku youth, both of which are very good. Obviously physical Goku youth has had his EZA. The only alternative lead really is the strength Belma. To be honest with you, I really like both leads. I do think AGL Goku is definitely the preferential lead, and there's alternative reasons for that. AGL Goku at this point in time is also one of the better tanks for the team. He takes a tiny bit of time to get going, but once he has built up after like a turn or two, he's really strong. And so the thing is with him is having two of him is very different to the team makeup. I don't have him, so it changes how you build the team a lot. In terms of alternatives, there's also obviously Master Roshi, who kind of covers things, but he is a little bit difficult to use on the team overall. In terms of like team build, this is one of those teams where the team itself has a very strange kind of build. So this team is flooded with some of the best supports in the game. You have physical Goku youth, excellent support. Strength Belma, the first two-turn support, still a great two-turn support. You have Int Chi-Chi, a fantastic 60% support for the team. You have Tech Mai, who is a great evasion style support. You have AGL Belma, who's a great evasion style support. But what you're lacking is a lot of specialists. You're lacking specialist second slot units, you're lacking specialist first slot units. Like AGL Hachan is great. With a two-turn buff from physical Goku, he can actually have 88% damage reduction, which is huge. 88% damage reduction is massive, but it's just takes him a little bit too long to get there, and he doesn't really have a lot of other alternatives, which is why the double AGL Goku, if you're really trying to run DB Saga on like a higher level, is almost mandatory, because you need that. He's your damage dealer, he's your tank, he's also the lead that's going to give you like health from this pool of units. He is very much mandatory. You can make it work for a lot of content with just the physical Goku, but you do lose out overall in terms of team build when you're looking just at functionality. Right now, my roster in terms of usable units for decently high level content with this team, and when I say decently high level, I mean we're talking red zones, we're talking 3 million supers, we're talking 4 million supers. This team can do it with a little bit of working around. It's pretty good. For me, Master Roshi is a great support, but he's way too finicky to use. Just his dependence on having Pepe Gals to be the best version of him without us having dedicated Pepe Gal slots on each rotation, definitely, for me, not so much. But yeah, in terms of like functionality, I would say you would want to probably have, definitely you need to have physical AGL Goku. I think Hachan is fine as long as you can float him off and get him back with his full damage reduction availability from turn 5. Strength Belma is still more than fine, especially with the two-turn buffs now from physical Goku. Int Chi-Chi, excellent, absolutely amazing. Tech Mai and AGL Belma, both very good in events where evasion is allowed. If there's no evasion to be allowed, I will be honest with you, DB Saga struggles. Like if you're going to an event where they're going to disable evasion, it's probably not the team to take, because Tech Mai, AGL Belma, AGL Goku post super, even like a lot of the hidden potential builds are all evasion based. So for me, definitely I would say if you want to go into an event and it disables evasion and it's like a hardcore red zone that has like, let's say 3-4 million supers, it's just not the team. Like unless they're going to definitely super slot 1 where you can stick your AGL Goku, it's just not the team. And even then, it's not the team, because Bulma and Tech Mai, their normal defense just never gets to the point where they can take like million attack normals. They are reliant on their evasion. Overall, though, it is an incredibly fun team. In terms of sport memories, look, obviously in terms of sport memories, there's unfortunately not a DB Saga one right now that I can recall of, at least like a flat buff. There is Goku's family one, which would be good for the two big Goku's family units. Bond of Parent and Child can also work for that as well, I guess. Bond of Master and Disciple kind of works, but really this is one of those weird ones where until we get a DB Saga one or a Youth one maybe, there's not going to be a standout support memory that you're going to be able to use to boost this team, at least right now. Let's talk now rotations. We have 2 rotations. If you have AGL Goku, he has to be on each rotation. He is 100% mandatory. He is the best unit in the team from a tanking, damage, he's insane. He's a very good unit. If you don't, you can substitute in physical Goku, but his tanking is very, 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 very erratic. Highly dependent on how many rainbow orbs you get. Highly dependent on if they super before or after he supers. Like, it's just not a situation where I'd say, oh, he's absolutely insane. Chi-Chi can be relied upon as long as they don't crit. Chi-Chi actually has a lot of defense, especially if you have dupes in her. Like, she can be very tanky. Personally, like, she can be very tanky, but like a little bit dupe dependent, and also crits will just tear her apart because she relies a lot on guard. But overall, still very good. Like, you can definitely use her. I use her a lot for the early parts of fights, kind of to accommodate for that AGL Goku, to give him 1 turn to build up. After turn 1, he's pretty fine. He's kind of like the 7th year Alars in that fact, very similar in design, where he is ridiculously solid, so basically, yeah, pretty damn good. Now, obviously, in terms of floaters, look, Hachan can switch in as a tank once he gets his 80% damage reduction, because like I said, with a 2-turn support from physical Goku, that becomes 88%. He's actually surprisingly tanky. Yes, even in current content, there will still be attacks that will tear him apart, but he can still be very, very tanky. Strength Bulma is also one that in longer fights, like where she's building up to that 77% damage reduction, it's also a very, very good unit for longer fights, kind of building up that damage reduction, being very reliable, being very solid. I think that's very, very good. So that's all quite good for this team. Physical Goku Youth, excellent support, great to float, great to have on rotation. The only reason he's not on rotation when you have double AGL Gokus is because you can't link with either AGL Goku. So yeah, it's great to have him, it's great to have that permanent 2-turn buff, but it's really hard because he doesn't link with AGL Goku, so you'd always be sacrificing your links with AGL Goku, which sacrifices damage with him. It's not the end of the world, because in theory you would be giving him a 60% support permanently. It's just entirely up to you, because you would want AGL Goku in the first slot. But you can do it, like, you can definitely do it. AGL Goku will still be AGL Goku, and having physical Goku double rotation will be fine. In shorter fights, that is what I do, because Bulma obviously loses her guard. It just depends on the timing with Bulma. The rest of the units, like Tech Mai, AGL Bulma, all really, really good, really, really solid. They all function very similar. Tech Mai functions very similar to Bulma. Bulma functions very similarly to Tech Mai. Strength Roshi even functions very similarly to both of them if you build them evasion builds. So, like, all your supports are evasion based supports. They're there, they float around, they give support, they give lots of buffs to rotation, but it's to all encompass your 3, I would say, big primary units, being, or 4, I guess, if you count in Chi-Chi, the AGL Gokus and the physical Goku, all of which are absolutely your primary points of call. They are all really fantastic. They are incredibly strong. So they carry your team. They're your core component. If you have those 4, you can kind of make any other variants of the other ones work to a point. But yeah, I would probably say you still need some of these crucial evasion support units. Like AGL Bumble Bunny helps a ton, Tech Mai helps a ton. It's the support they give that really makes the main units start to hit like Mac trucks, which I think is really, really important overall. So let's talk about active skills and just how to use units properly. So obviously Physical Goku is great for damage. His active skill augments, giving him critical hits. It's a really good skill to kind of help close out a phase, but it doesn't do huge damage itself. It does good damage, but it's not going to do, millions upon millions upon millions of damage. It's more to enhance his attack, so you have to always make sure you can get to his point in the fight before you start wondering what's going to happen with his active. Belmez is a bit different. Belmez has a lot of different uses, so Belmez is great for a couple of reasons. Firstly, Belmez is great for changing up the orbs to give yourself her 2-turn buff and other buffs for other units. It's great for healing, because if she picks up all those orbs, she's going to heal you up a ton. And it's good for her defense and her offense. It augments her a lot. Like, it gives her a much stronger base foundation for her defense, for her offense. And so it's big for her. Like, it does a lot of different things. You can use it in like many different ways because of how versatile it is. My suggestion personally to people would be to consider focusing in on using it primarily for the heal. Or to change the orbs. For me, using it to change orbs to get Goku's 2-turn buff and her buff is very, very important, and I think fundamentally works very, very well. So I use it largely for that. I don't strictly use it to augment her defense or offense or anything. It's just not the case. So yeah, generally speaking, that'd be what I'd say. In terms of gameplay, a lot of these teams are or a lot of these units and teams, they're very flexible. Like I said, this is a support heavy team lineup. There's lots of 2-turn sports, there's lots of solo sports, evasion sports, but you have to really, 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 really understand your units and know when to use certain active skills and when to use certain abilities to try and maximize this team, because there is a lot of pressure on the core units like AGL Goku. You're going to see in this clip now, Chi-Chi and Goku do fine, and then you have Tech Mai drop you with an evasion. That can happen a lot with this team, where the team can do an incredibly amazing job self-catering these really powerful units, and then kind of drop things out of nowhere. Goku's active is probably the one that I find also you have a little bit of flexibility with. You can use it early on, so if you're in like a short event, where the enemies are coming out the gate, they're hitting very hard, you need Goku to ramp up a lot faster, you can use his active, like without a doubt. That's usually what I do if I'm doing like a short-term event. I know the boss is going to come out hard. I need Goku to come online faster, to tank, to do a lot of things for me. I use his active. If it's a slower event, if you can afford to hold it for when you need to value the heal, then you can do that instead. So don't be scared to use it straight away if you're fighting an enemy that's going to really give you problems due to their stats, their boost, their everything. Rather, just say, you know what, this is going to be a bit of a problem for me. I'm going to use the active skill. I'm going to get that attack buff. The heal is super great as well, so I don't like wasting it, but the attack buff and the defense buff is very good. Goku comes online super quickly anyway, but it does ramp him up a lot faster. And that's that. That's really the team. The team's great. I love the team. It's a lot of fun. It is very dependent on very few units right now. I was hoping they would release another LR for the DB Saga to really give it like this good foundation. But as of now, I think it's still really good, and I suggest you try it. Bye.